Good morning, everyone. Good morning, coffee moaners. I just ate a chewy lemon head and it's playing havoc with my throat. Oh, what a mistake. The Curly Cooks of Croydon this weekend has a certain across the pond kind of appeal. I don't know what she said. I don't know why she said it. I don't even think she knows what she said. It was an absolute disaster. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. It's election day, the general erection. We are going to have some erectile dysfunction, or are we? Electoral dysfunction, even. Oh, guys, I know it's one of those things where you're not supposed to ask who you're going to vote for, but I'm going to ask who you're going to vote for. I know we've asked most days, but I feel that people are changing minute by minute. Though the amount, everyone I speak to says they don't believe that everyone's going to vote Labour. And yet all the polls keep saying everyone's going to vote Labour. Should we trust the polls? We've had previous elections where the polls haven't been quite so sort of accurate, haven't we? Good morning. Morning, Reese. You can taste the election in the air. There it is. There it is. You can feel the scent. You can feel the sort of biorhythms of Farage, can't you? Stuart G, there is another one coming very soon. You can feel the biorhythms of Farage. You can feel the sort of the rishis of the Rishi. I think Rishi's already voted. Have you noticed one thing you've got to say for Rishi? And I haven't got anything to say for Rishi, but the one thing you can say for Rishi is he manages to maintain that same gormless smile all the time, doesn't he? Regardless of what's going on, doesn't matter. He's just forever grinning. He's forever grinning. He's just forever grinning. Tracy Street, I'm voting Labour. Got to get these Tories out. Yeah. Well, I'm sure if you follow us, and you do, you know that we wish we could, but we can't. So we are heading to the polls later today when Naz is back, and we are going to, I'm voting. You know what? Isn't it amazing? I know I'm not voting Labour. I know I'm not voting Tory. I know I'm not voting Reform. I want to vote Green, but then one of your comments, which was, these parties do look at the statistics, could a mini surge to the Lib Dems in this area mean that we become less of a Labour sort of safe seat at the next election? I don't know. Anyway, only party to mention Gaza. Gabrielle, I agree. Even the Lib Dems are kind of, that's that again. It's just, how can we, if this was the 1930s and we knew what we now knew was going on, and would you vote for a party that was actively ignoring gross humanitarian law infringements? I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Yeah. Anyway, I hope everyone has a happy voting day. It's quite nice weather. I'm doing a couple, as I say, proxy votes today. If there's a knock at the door, I will have to get it. We've got something being delivered as well. It's you know what I do hope? Do you know what I really hope? Do you know what I want? What I really, really want? What I really, 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 really want is I want Jeremy Corbyn to win Islington North. Lee Durrant on my way now in bright yellow shorts. Isn't that the colour of the Lib Dems? Careful, mate. I agree, Mark. Do it, Mark. Vote Green. Isn't it terrible? I'll tell you why I quibble with the whole Green thing. It's not that I don't agree with, the whole climate issue is the most pressing issue there is. But I've always felt that they're lacking in detail on the kind of nuanced stuff of, running a country and all that kind of stuff. And then I've always just kind of, it's weird. I am tarnished by my generation, I think, assuming that Green is just kind of hippie. What's wrong with hippie? So yes, going to vote, Charmaine, was going to spoil the ballot. Don't believe or trust that spoiling the ballot gets acknowledged, nor does it get sort of mentioned. So all that kind of malarkey. So, yeah. Lee Durrant, yep, changed my mind. Was Labour, now Lib Dem. My local Lib Dem was the only candidate to call for a ceasefire, so that's that. Labour would argue, as our MP did in his email to me, that they have called for a ceasefire too. This is the problem. What I don't like about how Labour got to their call for a ceasefire was the reluctant, kind of worming kind of fashion with which they got there, nor the fact that they haven't been at all transparent about the fact that so many of their MPs are supported and paid by the Israeli lobby. And D, I do have this huge suspicion that, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I know for a lot of people it's too much. But I do have this funny sneaking suspicion that the Foreign Office, which has put this sort of appeal against the International Court to sort of hamper or potentially stop these arrest warrants being issued to against Netanyahu. Starmer was a lawyer, Foreign Office lawyers. I don't know, maybe someone could do some research into the connections between those lawyers that are actually, approaching the ICC and saying, don't issue the warrants, and their connection with Starmer. Tiny, teeny lass sending you so much love with your wonderful micro world. Oh, it's so joyful. I just want to get in there with my toy soldiers, though. You see, it's terrible, isn't it? As a young boy, you just get toy soldiers. I want to get toy soldiers out and just put them all in there. Linda B, if we don't sort out our planet, then we won't have much of a world to vote in. Greens are at least looking at the major issue. I agree. I think the concern, I tell you what my genuine existential concern for any Green party or Green vote, doesn't mean I'm not going to vote for them for this reason. I've got this horrible feeling that does anyone agree with this? I feel that as a collective race, we all feel it's going to be, whatever can be done is too little too late. Oh, hang on, have I frozen? Oh no, no. Let me... Coming back in 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh, maybe I'm not coming back. Add to image. Am I back? Am I back? Hopefully I'm back. Obviously, there's a sign from the Green Party there. A sign from the Green Party that things aren't all good. Am I back? I'm back. Just want to check and see, can I... Oh no, all my video, please don't tell me all my videos have been removed. Oh no, that's going to be so annoying. Oh, I'm going to have to upload my bloody vids, guys. Oh, that's a technical hellhole, isn't it? So you lose signal for a minute and then you lose all your bloody bits and bobs. Bear with me 1 second. I have got things to show you. Let me try this one. I'm going to just add this and see if it works. No, this is a sign. Do you think this is a sign to vote Green? Let me pop this up. That works, the PDF. But my vids don't work. I'll have to bring them in as I do them. Okay. So what was I saying? Completely forgot what I was saying because we lost coverage. Where was I at? What incredibly important pressing point was I at? I don't know what sign, but it's a sign, says Victoria Moore. I agree. You're right. Is anyone else who's subscribed keeps going off? Oh, weird. Definitely a sign. Do you think? I reckon, I've got this horrible feeling that, Starmer and the like, I've got this terrible feeling that they mark everyone. Who thinks there's going to be, oh yeah, Green vote. Just quickly, who thinks there's going to be a purge of anyone who vaguely thought that killing lots and lots of innocent children and women was wrong? Who thinks there's going to be a purge by Labour? I do. I think front-facing, they're going to appear all reasonable and rational and really kind. And, oh, yeah, this is it. And behind the scenes, they're going to be really nasty. The thing with the Tories was they were sort of up front, they were nasty. And then behind, they were nasty. Do you know what I mean? Hippies. on hippies. Green. I just have this worry that the vast majority of us as humans, as civilization, and of course, in order for us to kind of reverse the planet, it requires a global effort. Of course it does. G7, everyone, all that. but I think everyone feels it's too little, too late. And I think that I do think that as creatures, we are ineluctably drawn like a moth to the light towards the end of our existence. And I think baked into where we're at, as we see this, more and more people are saying, as the weather becomes more and more irascible and unpredictable and destructive, but hotter at times that seem, oh, okay, that's hot, that's nice. People turn to the, oh, well, at least it's hot this week, rather than the, oh, the planet's burning up. But then, Good Ship Lollipop, you say net zero is a total blag. I mean, I don't understand how we can consume as a planet everything we do and it not have an impact. I remember at the age of 6 being really worried about how much paper we all used, generally, in schools. And that hasn't got any less, has it? I reckon we use more paper now than we did when I was at Thomas Jones in 1976. Maybe we don't, though. In fact, we don't use more paper. Maybe we use more bandwidth and storage. And apparently, even just storing, I mean, just our YouTube channel alone, apparently, is using up so much kind of energy in a database somewhere. Anyway, Victoria Moore, it's pissing me off the thought of STARMER already celebrating. I don't think Starmer's facial expression has changed once in the entire election. He's looked slightly removed, like his eyes have gone deeper into his head, and it's like he's just monitoring the world and just looking at the world. I want to show you this clip, actually. Nadia sent it to me. I think Nadia, bless her, thought it was related to this election. It wasn't. This is a clip from 2022. And I want to grab this clip. Just give me a second, because I just need to make sure it's the right clip. That's all. So let me just, yes, this is it. I just want to play you this clip. I think it will just pop up.
You've got the guts to come to this city after you have been being interviewed and doing columns for the Sun newspaper, after the way we as a city were abused, and after the way we as a city, the Hillsborough victims, were abused by that paper, and you've come here. Secondly, you lied to us about uniting the party. I'm still a Labour Party member, and you've expelled and witch hunted in the most vicious way I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I've been a member of the Labour Party for a long, long time. You have absolutely said you had 10 pledges, you were going to carry on the Corbyn legacy. And ever since, you've done nothing but distance yourself from the ideas which tens of thousands of people joined the Labour Party to support. And all you've done is feed into the Tory ideology of not supporting strikes, of carrying on with the privatisation of our health service. You're doing everything to feed into a Tory victory. Because we may as well have a Tory if we have a person like you who lies to the party. It's dishonesty. Thank you very much.
He doesn't say anything. I mean, I think that might be, that's probably the advice he's received. And I see what you're saying, Michu. You have to go where the people are. I mean, I think me and you, Michu, slightly disagree on this. I just don't think you do. I suppose the hope, if you can park Israel and the whole catastrophe of that to the side, which I struggle to be able to do, to be brutally honest with you. Maybe the one hope is that they get in and they can do more radical things. I mean, I saw somewhere, the suggestion that they want to reconsider and rethink the idea of the number of exams that our children go through. I said it before, after this clusterfuck of Toriness, we couldn't be more, I could not want a Labour sort of party more. And yet I couldn't not vote for them more than I can right now, precisely because of their incredibly ambivalent, purposefully ambivalent and obfuscating position on the whole Israel thing, refusing to kind of say the right things and push for the right moves at the right times. And I do worry that it is a party that has been increasingly sort of become more controlled by a Zionist sympathetic membership, and that really worries me. That really worries me. So, I saw STARMER asked yesterday by Jess. Political reporter. She's great, Beth Rigby. And you could see her really, she looked like she'd had an energy drink. She was like eyeballs popping, going, "How are you going to feel, kid? How are you going to feel when you're going to win? You're going to win with the biggest, come on." She was trying to, I think maybe she was like, I need to get some kind of emotional response out of him. And he was just like, well, this is a civic duty. Well, I hope it is just a civic duty. I do hope that it's not about personality and it's about, putting his money or his kind of mouth where his money is, fine. I don't think he is going to be a gleeful leader. 1 second, I will be back. Nearly back in the room. We'll be in a minute. Toss. Just 1 sec. Thank you. Toby, come here. Yeah. Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. There you go. Can't post them. And there's the old. That's what it's going around, is it? What? It's an error. You sure? No. Go on. I just bought some fruit. Thank you. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye. It's all right. It was the Labour. It was a Labour candidate. I just gave him what for. I just threw some lemon heads at him. I said, "Have one of these. These are really nice. They're going to really bugger your throat up." Anyway, sorry. So, yeah, I don't think Starmer's going to be like, he's not one of those types, is he? Just doesn't. It's like, I don't understand why it's necessary to lose the human contingent to politicians. I mean, I get they've all got to pull together. I get they've, collective responsibility. I get they've all got to be singing from the same song sheet and all that bollocks. But I just don't get it. Just 1 second. Oh, God, it's all kicking off here, isn't it? I'm getting phone calls now. Just 1 sec. Yeah. Oh, how sweet. Hang on 1 second. My proxy vote. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my God. I don't even want to share that because it's the privacy of someone else's political situation. It was one of the sweetest messages I've seen by one of the proxy voters that I'm proxy voting for. Oh, bless. Oh my God, that's so cute. Starmer recognises that this is a once-in-a-generation moment to use a majority that can push through legislation and actually get things done. I agree. And in another way, one of the other things that I think is a big kind of, misnomer. I was listening to someone on the radio the other day, because often the way it's kind of steered, isn't it? The Tories go, Labour always borrow too much money to do stuff. That's irresponsible. We won't, and all that malarkey. I think, there was an expert on one of the on Radio 4 the other day talking about the fact that actually too much hysteria has been baked into this borrowing thing. We've come out of, I do think we all have to remember, we've come out of, we're still in a war with Ukraine v Russia. The Middle East is becoming a huge drain unnecessarily for the West because of how much fucking weaponry they're selling to Israel. But the whole world has become much more of a tinderbox, more costly to manage. and you had COVID. What's a proxy vote is when someone who can't vote for themselves here, who's in the UK, they ask or nominate someone else to go to the polling station, and vote for them. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. You vote for someone, and yeah, and I do. I think you're right, Mitri. I think in a weird way, I think if he gets a big enough, and he's going to get a big enough majority. I mean, I think tonight is not. There's going to be no surprises tonight. It's going to be, it's going to be about, what does, the size of the majority, what sort of a government does it mean? Where you don't agree with what Labour represents, it's going to be worrying. And that's for us is things like the situation in the Middle East. But, of course, one can't pretend that because one disagrees profoundly with their position and their inaction and their sort of tight-lipped, mealy-mouthed refusal to condemn clear atrocities and their one-sidedness and their refusal to kind of apply an equivalent condemnation to things like illegal settlements and the awfulness that's currently now going on in the West Bank, and not see that this kind of disrupts not just the Middle East, but the entire global approach to humanitarian law, international law. The implications of this will be massive when Trump's in. And all this kind of stuff, unless you keep those standards fixed rather than managing to kind of, blur the boundaries of humanitarian law if it doesn't suit your definition. If you can park all that to the side, of course, there's going to be areas, for example, Labour are much more historically aligned with, the creative arts, education not being a sort of almost militaristic, fascistic system, but actually something that's about bettering the person as much as bettering their sort of financial prospects. It's really hard. It's like feeling slightly schizophrenic. It's like disinviting yourself. How I feel about the election tonight, that's what I'm talking about. It's like I've had to uninvite myself to a party I would have under normal circumstances absolutely been at. So, Jeremy Corbyn, I hope he wins. I fall on my sword and I acknowledge fully, wholeheartedly. Rena Gillan, it depends on help me choose who I should vote for. I'm so confused right now. If you want to vote with your heart, I can't tell you what to vote for. So many issues here. So many. What's a priority to you? For younger generations, the Green Party. I mean, I've just been more and more youngsters seem to be voting Green, or they're voting independent. If that independent, for example, is pro, is pro Palestine, or is anti. Well, it's not pro Palestine. It's anti the kind of lack of action taken against Israel's genocide. If you've hated the Tories, it's hard to say what you should vote. Vic, I totally agree, Mark. Education for self-actualization. So of course, I am infuriated with the leadership, and I am infuriated with as that woman just said there, the purging of aspects of the Labour Party that were important. The fact that really what the Labour Party has done categorically with the Corbyn purge and the increase and the establishment of more Zionist candidates, what they're saying is any criticism of Israel they're defining it as anti-Semitic, and that's dangerous. And I worry that because of the perception of the Corbyn issue with the Labour Party, that it's made the Labour Party go more Zionist than they ever should have done and ever could have done or would have done in my understanding of what a Labour Party is about. A Labour Party is about the disenfranchised. It's about helping those who can't, for whatever reasons, help themselves. I can't think of a people in a situation that better typifies that than the Palestinians. I can't perceive Netanyahu and the Zionist Israeli leadership and those who support the Israeli occupation as anything other than a reversioning of white supremacist, deeply conservative, imperialist interests. And so that doesn't feel like a Labour quality. And I don't think that, when you had members of the Labour Party who were deeply critical of Israel, they weren't anti-Semitic, but the conflation stuck. And there will have been some, this is the problem, there will have been some whose criticism, if you like, of Israel had spilt into anti-Semitism, but they should have been dealt with on a case-by-case basis. I think the massive swing tonight, the largest, the Times are saying it's going to be the largest since, where's the time? Biggest majority since 1832. 1832. David Edwards, vote reform and save our country from Labour, who will run it to the ground, just going up there. Wildlife Gardener, do you agree? I agree. It will be a huge Labour unless the Labour voters stay at home because they think everyone else is doing the voting. Faith Goodman. I think the reason the Tories are banging on about the landslide, the huge, I think there is a kind of counterintuitive hope that by over amplifying the almost inevitable slam dunk that's coming tonight, it might put some Labour voters off voting. More and more people I talk to, or the more and more youngsters I listen to or hear, or people I talk to, aren't convinced by Labour. So I don't think Labour getting in is going to be a massive mandate for Labour per se. I think, ironically, without wishing to kind of, in a weird way, it is just change. And I think what you could do is you could start to look at Keir Starmer's catchy phrase of change as, as kind of almost lacking in any political heft. In any, it's literally change for change's sake. I mean, that should be the new strapline. Change for change's sake, not for actually anything specific. I think if Labour were to get in, they should be robust and not be shot down for borrowing to invest in infrastructure. And I think they should be, supported in that way, if that's the way they go. I don't think there should be this kind of, absolute aversion to it. Pippa Bailey, Labour worry me, but not as much as the Tories. No, absolutely. I mean, the Tories are fucked. And the Tories have fucked it. And that's why I now want to get to a list. One of the other things I wanted to put up here is, let me just find it because the crash lost it. Here, look, is it Let There Be, led by donkeys, have posted this projection onto the side of the Houses of Parliament. One thing I will be doing tonight, guys, is playing a game of bingo. And it's called Tory bingo. And it's going to be like, who are we going to get a full house of those Tories we're going to really enjoy seeing go? The Portillo effect. Do you remember when Michael Portillo lost his seat? And then really curiously became a very sort of popular, or has become a very popular railway travel presenter. Isn't that weird? Isn't it curious? He was loathed. But anyway, this was projected onto the side of the Houses of Parliament, just to give you a clue as to which politicians could be running the risk of losing their seats. Hopefully it'll come up. Quite powerful, isn't it? Let's have a look. Shall we have another look at who Bevington doing a live stream? We can do one for Love Island. We can do one for work. Hillary, very kind. Very kind. It is like a hit list, isn't it? It's like a hit list. Let me just find. So, which Tory big beasts could lose their seats tonight? Ian Duncan Smith, former leader of the Tory party. Grant Shapps, always a little bit smug. Liam Fox, former Defence Secretary. Mark Harper, Alex Chalk. Gillian Keegan, Education Secretary, the one who likes to use the F word a lot. Richard Holden. Mel Stride, Work and Pension Secretary. Penny Mordaunt, Nadia's crush. She could go. Gavin Williamson could be cool. Wasn't he revealed to be just silly? Wasn't he the education minister? He was just silly and angry. James Cleverly. Ooh, could have been a contender for the leadership, no? Jeremy Hunt. And Liz Truss could go in Southwest Norfolk. Who thinks Liz Truss could go? There's going to be some vague satisfaction, isn't there, as we watch those ones come in. Maybe we should just go live for those moments. I genuinely hope Jeremy Corbyn gets in. I really do. I feel huge regret Not that single-handedly individuals or numerous individuals like me who kind of lost the way with him. He lost me around Brexit. I just fucking hell, Jeremy. Mate, even if you were against Brexit, if he'd explained it in a weird way, Corbyn around Brexit when he was leader of the Labour Party was, well, no, not as bad, but was a little bit like how the po-faced refusal to condemn Israel is with the Labour Party now. Kyla Saxton, oh bless you, I really need help with who to vote. I don't know who to vote. I just want what's best for this country. I don't want to end up not voting. And therein lies the problem, because I mean, I'm pivoting between the Lib Dems and Greens. I'm more likely going to go Green because of their position on Gaza and Israel, and the fact that baked into their very name is a comprehension of the planet. Well, it's not even a comprehension of the planet, because, okay, good chip lollipop, even if net zero, baked into, I think, even the manifesto and the concept of, although they'd all say this, the Green Party, is an acknowledgement of future generations. Good chip lollipop, 11th hour decisions for many. Do you think, which is why who thinks the polls are going to fuck up? Who thinks the polls have got it wrong? Who thinks it's not going to be as big as they think? Who thinks that the headline tonight, who thinks that maybe it's a Tory that owns all the pollsters and they're purposefully inflated Labour's lead? Alison Barber, this feels like 2016 again. I can't remember what happened in 2016. Was it a shocker? Was that the oh God, what's her name? Oh my God, what's the name of the MRP polls will broadly be on target. I think the polls could be wrong, Victoria Moore, or do we just want them to be wrong? Someone described it as being a potential sandcastle victory. A sandcastle victory, meaning that although Labour will win many, many seats, the margins won't be very big, which means it can be washed away when the sea comes in just once. There's a website, says Creatorholic, for how to vote tactically in your area for England if you don't know who to vote for but want the Conservatives out. Maybe someone else knows the link. Oh, dandy magpie. It feels tempting, doesn't it? Too many people, Sophie, just think about Keir and not the local MPs they're voting for. I'm proud to vote Labour today, as my local MP does so much to help the local community and actively makes lives better. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think, the issue with an MP is always what is their sort of community, local perspective. But I do, for me, I don't see a disconnect between global issues and domestic issues. I think, especially when you've got global issues of such, I feel, obvious moral kind of consequences, or, with clear moral kind of, atrocities going on, or, egregious kind of breaking down of morals. If you have a government or a leader or an MP who can't vote, I mean, if you've got an MP a Labour MP who was voting against STARMER's watering down of the ceasefire, is very pro, pushing against Israel and all this kind of stuff, I'd be astonished that they're still in the Labour Party. But B, if you have, then I could see that would be potentially a reason to vote for Labour. That, I think I did say yesterday, if you've got an independent, if you have a Labour politician who somehow has managed to avoid Keir's kind of purge, if you like, then I think vote for them, possibly. Lib Dems, if Lib Dems are a clear possible contender against the Tories or Labour. And then Green, if you're wanting to vote with your heart. No vote I've said it many times, no vote here is going to change anything. So I just wonder whether, are we voting for something that I feel a lot of youngsters want? And let's face it, youngsters are the population of tomorrow, if not the population of today, because they're still young now and they're here now. I don't want to get existential on this show. Biden admitted he nearly fell asleep in the debate, which is a curious thing to admit when you're trying to get everyone back on board. Who thinks Joe Biden is not going to be running against Donald Trump? Kamala Harris is being talked about a lot in polls. It suggests that if Kamala Harris was the Democrat candidate, she would be only a percentage point behind Donald Trump. New polls yesterday put Donald Trump on 48 and Biden on 41, whereas Kamala Harris potentially being a candidate. I mean, the weird thing is she has been, I mean, to us here, it might not be the case in America, she seems to have been remarkably quiet, like she's just been kept in the wings for the entirety of Biden's premiership. But she's kind of popping out a bit more now. So there's a huge scramble in America. There's a feeling that Biden has 2 or 3 days or a week or two to turn this around. I think he has an unscripted, as in he can't prepare for it, which, let's face it, we've discovered with Biden is his weakest point, is unpreparedness in terms of pivoting with a question. He's got is it CBS or ABC? There's an interview with him, I think this Friday. Lamia Safa, Biden isn't going to step down. He's power driven. But he actually admitted that in the debate, he was sleepy. He nearly fell asleep because he admits, here we are, Joe Biden admits he nearly fell asleep on stage due to jet lag. But presumably this was just jet lag across America, right? Or had he come from abroad? He said he wasn't very smart for having traveled extensively in the weeks leading up to the event where he performed poorly. A number of Democrats have come out today saying, look, we support him. But, I think everything's going to change when the donors start to pull their money. Reese Roberts, they keep changing the goalposts with Biden's reasoning. The thing is, bringing Team B like Gavin Newsom and him overtaking Kamala has the jeopardy to lose the black supportive base who want Kamala. What about Kamala Harris and Gavin as her VP? That could be quite a sexy ticket, couldn't it, for any opposition to Trump? If you want to know what Trump thinks of everything, we generally do like to know what Trump's thinking. He was on the golf course today. Let me just find the clip. Here he is. Sorry, I just have to upload it.
With the debate the other night.
Oh, amazing.
He kicked that old broken down pile of crap.
Yeah.
It's a bad guy. He just quit, He's quitting the race.
Is that right?
Yep, I got him out of the race. And that means we have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic.
It's so amazing.
It's just so bad. So,
I just can't imagine.
but can you imagine that guy dealing with Putin and the president of China, who's a fierce person? He's a fierce man.
Right.
A very tough guy, and they see him. They can't. But they just announced he's probably quitting.
Good.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's Trump saying they've announced he's probably quitting. I do wonder whether Trump does know this. What a disgusting person. The way he described that piece of trash at the beginning was horrible. The way he describes Kamala, horrible. I think Trump is going to pull out. Sorry, not Trump. I think Biden will have to step down. But I think for his own sake, everyone is going to have to allow him the chance to prove his worth. Biden, I think he has to quit. I think I can't remember who said it on the morning after the debate. I am staggered and amazed. Have they all had their heads so deeply in the sand to have only discovered what we all guessed prior to the debate? Has there been zero preparation in the background before this, as he stumbled from stage to stage and into flagpoles and Violet Hayes? I don't think his ego would allow. I mean, could we be looking at, and this is the thing about politics, power corrupts. Are we looking equivalently in Biden at as much hubris in that old man as there is, as we all can see every day, narcissistic personality disorder in Trump? Is he steadfastly going to refuse with those octogenarian hands, Biden, to let go of the Zimmer frame of power? Is he going to cling to that Zimmer frame for the free world? There we go. And just finally, Biden falls asleep. Woman stands up to. We've talked about the hit Tory MPs, and just a nice little touch here by the Metro. Obviously, the papers can't all talk about the election today. Formally, they've got their front pages. I'll show you them in a minute. Pencils, village halls. What Gen Zers really make of our retro voting system? They're perplexed. I was talking to Kiki this morning. She was like, "My God, you you actually go in a box with a pencil. I said, yeah. I said, it's the only other time I use a pencil of the same length in a similar sort of slightly private situation is in IKEA. When you're writing down a 1 or a number next to Dormstrong Dickelfenk, which is some kind of a sort of, shelving unit, or the Dormstronger. It's either IKEA or the incredibly important moment of a general election. A pencil and a piece of paper. So, the time is upon us, team. The next time Coffee Moaning joins you, me and Nads will be here in the morning telling you what kind of a bloody night it's been. Me and Nads are going to dress up for it. She's going to dress down for it. I might go live. You never know. Please do a live tonight, says Alison Barber. Oh, bless you. I'll see. I'll see. Nads gets very sort of strict in these matters, which I find quite attractive sometimes. If you haven't, check out our How to Stay Married. Utterly mind blown. Have a lovely day. Here's the front of the papers, by the way. Time for a new manager. Not Gareth Southgate. The Sun kind of tangentially backing STARMER. The Guardian, Starmer hails new age of hope as Britain votes in a historic election. Could do a live for the exit poll. Sean Thomas, like your style. Well done. Good shout. I think we will. Homeowners face council tax raid under Labour. Good God, how could council tax get any higher? Vote. This was very confusing, and I think purposefully so for the Daily Mail. It looks like it says vote for Farage, but what they're saying is vote for Farage, get them and all this, wrong taxes, uncontrolled immigration, Rwanda scrap, rampant. But you feel they're kind of saying vote for Farage, aren't they? Don't you think? I think that's purposeful. Labour set for biggest majority since 1832. Look, just there. Keir Starmer, a stunned smile. I think that's the best you're going to get is a stunned smile. But you're not going to get Schadenfreude. They're a band from the 1980s. Mirror, Britain can be better than this. Today you have the chance to make history. Together we can choose a brighter future. Vote for change. Vote for Labour. Daily Express, my granddad would be proud of the Daily Express. It's never moved once in its positioning. It simply says, vote Tory. And the Daily Star, a fond farewell to those self-entitled clowns, chancers, liars, wazzocks, cheats, sociopaths, scumbags and bellends who'll be out of work this time tomorrow after taking us for complete mugs these last 14 years. Toodle pip. Who'd have thought that the Daily Star, for me, has become one of the most astute political publications in the country? Keep sharing your thoughts below, guys. Some vlogtastic stuff will be landing later. Check out our Love Island chit chat last night. It was fun. Otherwise, look, it's really hard. Vote. If you don't know what to vote for, vote with your heart. And if you don't know what your heart's saying, have a look at their manifestos. If you go to the government website, gov.uk general election, all the manifestos are there. I mean, if you've got time, read through them. Find this website which says, how to tactically vote to keep the Tories out. I don't think there needs to be any tactical voting to keep the Tories out. The Tories are out, that's for a fact. But it's going to be interesting to see by how strongly that's the case. Let's have an election chit chat tonight, please. Okay, Rachel Thomas, I am going to do exactly that. I think an exit poll chit chat around 10:30, 11 o'clock would be good, wouldn't it? All right, my guys, my lovelies. Have a lovely day and see you later.